All right. What is up, everybody? Nobody's really here. Oh, speaking of, why don't I get myself connected here? I believe I should be. Let's look me up here. Um, me. Uh, I'm real bad at this. I guess first up, hey, look, coffee, yay, and then I guess kind of the things I wanted to talk about. Upcoming stuff I've got going on. First of all, let me need to find myself and make sure. Yeah. There we go. Okay, yeah, we got audio. Perfect. Okay. Let me kind of park this guy here. There we go. And there we go. Perfect. And then I want to just turn this down. Okay. And maybe we will suspend this guy. Go to sleep. All right. I'm really bad at this. What was it that I had topics here? Hold on a moment. Oh yeah, setting up streaming and recording. Um, so trying to sort this stuff out. I got a Lumix. That's a Panasonic G7 that I use, and then I've got a Blackmagic A10 Mini ISO, which is kind of neat. Um, that's handling the streaming at this point in time, and then I got the computer going in, obviously, because you can kind of see, well, probably this little capture that I'm looking at. I need to get a couple other things here. I need like a little monitor so I can kind of see what is actually being streamed, and I need to, because right now I'm kind of looking at myself on the camera, but you guys are seeing that too because I got the computer output feeding into the ATEM. It's a little bit of a mess. I got to sort this out, make it a little better. Um, the reason I wanted the ISO ATEM ISO is for the isolation recording, which is pretty cool in that it'll make doing editing pretty easy. Uh, no need to swap a bunch of cards around, pull a card out of the camera, stick that into the computer, copy the files over, sync everything up. The ISO just does that for you, and then drops into DaVinci Resolve pretty easily for hacking up a multi-camera, multi-source kind of video thing. So um, one thing I'm going to probably do, I've got hard disk here, USB-C, but I'll probably end up burying the ATEM if I can work out some remote control and hook up a USB switch to the hard drive so I can kind of flip between whether that hard drive is or SSD is connected to um, the ATEM for recording or connected to the computer for importing and editing. But yeah, that's kind of that. I gotta sort that out, sort some audio out. Right now, I'm just using camera mic on the G7, and I got a couple of different lenses for the G7. Um, I kind of wanted something a little wider. I've got a 20 prime, 20 millimeter prime, which is actually a better looking lens with better detail, but it's maybe it doesn't quite go as wide as I would like. What I have right now is a 14 to 42 all the way out, and that kind of gives a little bit of a look here. You can kind of see a little bit more of what I'm doing. Uh, so anyway, I'll keep working on that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this streaming thing. I'm just going to start doing some stuff, talking about what's going on in my world, the different projects and tasks and whatnot I've got in front of me. Uh, Speaking of, uh, kind of professionally, one of the things I deal with is broadcast. So my family owns a radio station. It's primarily an AM. We got a couple of FM translators for that. Uh, and then I work for a couple other companies in the area doing IT work, doing just general broadcast stuff. One of them's a combination radio TV station. That's where the bulk of my work goes these days. Um, it's actually been pretty fun, but I've had to deal with some broadcast companies over the past few years and trying to set things up. And it's kind of shocking to me how bad the state of broadcast equipment is. You know, you got companies. I guess I'll leave them nameless right now, but you know, the pro audio world is pretty easy for the most part. You know, you've got some pretty well fleshed out standards, and software companies are pretty competitive. Um, and the quality of the software, it varies, but for the most part it's at a pretty high level. You know, I mainly use Reaper, as you can kind of see here. um, you know, Reaper works pretty good. It's solid, it's affordable. um, there's not a constant it's not a subscription. It's just decent software from a decent company. And you know, when you look at trying to do work professionally, you live and die by your tools. And you know, so when you're kind of in bed with a company like Adobe, for instance, you know, you're kind of you're stuck with their policies. And once you get entrenched in a piece of software, it's hard to move out. You've got all this legacy work that's built up in that particular product, and you you got workflow training. You know, I actually currently have some new machines deployed at well, new machines deployed at a site, and one of them's being currently used because we went ahead and put Adobe back on it. The other machine's not being used right now because we're trying to push that particular user into the DaVinci world for video editing. And because they've got a limited amount of time in the day to get stuff done, uh, and the tool, not that DaVinci Resolve is hard, it's not, it's just what you're used to. It works almost identically to say, well, I shouldn't say it works identically. It works similarly to Adobe Premiere, but there is a learning curve to it, and it's just difficult for them to make the transition over. I'm hoping that'll change. I'm hoping they'll get into it. I can't really handhold and make it work for them. You know, force them to transition. And the same thing with audio. You know, they've got a couple of the primary app that they're used to using is literally Cool Edit from 20 some odd years ago that hasn't been an entity in that long. And as we've gone further and further into, you know, Windows 7 and 8 and 10 and 11 now, Cool Edit just doesn't really work so well. It's having some problems working as expected on the newer Windows OSs. So I'm trying to convert that all the audio workflows to Reaper. I think that would be a good choice for them. They do have obviously some Creative Suite licensing. They've got what is it, Audition as a license, and subscription, I guess I should say. There's no real license anymore. It's all subscription. And as such, it's expensive when you kind of run the numbers about that over a year. And, you know, it just keeps going up in cost. So ultimately, the plans in my mind would be to get off of all that Adobe subscription stuff and just get into back to purchase software. Uh, you know, in broadcast, it used to be that, you know, you could buy something like a transmitter or an encoder or something like that, and that was a one-time purchase, and you know, you used it for the life cycle of the device. Transmitters are typically, you know, 15, 20, 25-year purchases unless something really major happens in the broadcast standard. But, you know, for FM in particular, you know, transmitters that were built 30 years ago are still technically viable, depending on what they are. If they're like a tube type transmitter, which is still a thing, you know, for high power FM transmission, tubes have kind of been a thing for many years. But these days, it's a little bit more common to just use a bunch of solid state modules combined to make the kind of output power you need. But having moved into some broadcast video, it's real interesting that the software and hardware for this kind of stuff is kind of moving into the subscription model, and I get it. It's hard to develop a product over time and put the resources into keeping it up to date and adding new features and new standards. You know, if you're looking at like a video encoder, for instance, you know, if there's a new compression algorithm, codec, you know, you have to add that codec into the software, and that's going to take time. You know, you have to develop the code, integrate it into the platform, do all the regression testing, make sure you're not going to break anything, and then you got to deploy it. And there's almost always going to be something you didn't foresee that's going to break, and you're going to have to troubleshoot and fix that. And so the idea that you can just buy a piece of equipment these days and just use it indefinitely and get, you know, maybe new features, maybe not. But if you want the company to still be around to support you, you kind of have to feed them. I mean, they can't just live off of nothing. They do an initial purchase, and there's two ways to do that. I mean, you could do like a really expensive purchase, which is quite a bit of what broadcast used to be. You do these massive, you know, 100, 200, $300,000 purchases for a piece of equipment or something, and you know, you kind of just expected it to be serviced and supported for years, and that kind of works. But it's a little difficult. Like right now, I have an issue with the company with the product that we purchased, which is literally just it literally is a computer. It's just a computer. It's a server motherboard with open source software on it, some proprietary code that the company themselves wrote. But you know, they charge like proprietary hardware prices for it, and then they expect to have a long-term subscription support model. You know, you buy support in 2 year, 1 year intervals, and that's how it works, and that's a little painful. Um, I get real frustrated seeing stuff like that, especially like a $30,000 price tag on a piece of equipment that is literally like, I don't know, maybe $2,000 worth of server parts, if that, and you got to pay a stupid amount of money for support on that, and especially stuff that's just free, open source software. Um, I get a little cranky about that. Just doesn't seem quite right. But anyway, that's kind of state of broadcast. It's the software's really oftentimes I find software poorly written. Uh, Radio station automation software is really bad, pretty much across the board. It it varies from just some cases just outright not working. Shocking to me, but just doesn't really work. Random failures, bad concepts about how, in my opinion, and I come at this from a different direction, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't have the legacy history of working in broadcast, so my perspective's a little different. I come from a pro audio and enterprise IT background, so the things that I would expect in a pro audio world or an IT world just aren't being delivered in the broadcast world, which is tragic. Uh, Anyway, that's an ongoing topic. I've got some pretty active conversations right now with a couple of different companies about their products, their support models, features I need that they don't currently have, and functionality I expect to have that doesn't exist, and support that doesn't exist. It's pretty frustrating. I'm used to being able to call up a company and get somebody on the phone pretty quick, and have parts, if I need parts, have parts shipped out within hours. And that just doesn't work over here. I'm used to being able to field service things, and that doesn't really seem to work anymore. You're expected to just box up and ship components like entire chassis of equipment, mission critical equipment. You're just expected to box it up and ship it back and just do without for, what, 2 weeks? So you literally have to work around, devise some methodologies to be able to work around missing something for a period of time. It's not very good. Not very good at all. Speaking of, I just got an email from a conversation I've been having. Let's see what we got here. Da, 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 oh, yeah. Just thanking for an email sent off, going over a big pile of stuff about a product that's just frankly garbage. But whatever. So, upcoming music projects. So, what I've got right now, for the past year, I've been working with a music venue in Irvine, Kentucky. Irvine. We pronounce it Irvine over here, though. We're hillbillies. Um, and kind of coming up on the 1 year mark here, I've made it a point to try and record every show. Not that it's just easy to do anymore. We use an X32 platform at that facility. We've got a Midas stage box, and we use that Midas stage box into, for the longest time, using an X32 rack with that with the, what is it, the X Touch controller. That was mine, and then the venue purchased an X32 compact that is at the venue now. So that's nice. But that gives us recording, which is cool. We might put in a Dante card at some point and just run stuff with Dante. There was kind of a purpose in that, is that we wanted to do some live streaming, and I've always been a little bit more of the mindset of recording the shows and then doing post-production later. Because unless you have a lot of staffing for that, I mean, to do that right, you need like a video recording person who's operating cameras and making sure the video is recording. You need a front of house audio person who's making the audience mix work, and you need a recording or live stream audio person to mix the audio for the live stream. And those people need to be in isolation. They kind of have to be off in their own room so that they aren't influenced by the sound of the house audio. They need to be able to hear everything in isolation and make it work right for the people back home, or remote, wherever they are. So the thought process when I initially approached putting that system together was to maybe put Dante in place, because then we could mult that audio absolutely everywhere, and then you're not married to a particular platform. Dante is pretty standard. It goes everywhere. Just about every manufacturer has something with Dante, whether you want to go with Midas or Allen and Heath or Behringer, anybody, Yamaha, all the companies support Dante. You can put a Dante card in anything. You got the Dante virtual sound card, which can go into a computer for archival recording purposes. But anyway, so that was kind of the thought process. We'll put some Dante in. We haven't quite gotten there. Hopefully in the future, maybe we'll do some stuff. But anyway, I've got a year's worth of live shows that are recorded, and we've kind of selected a handful of tracks, and we're going to put out a vinyl record, kind of a best of volume 1 for the first year. We have enough stuff. We might end up doing a best of volume 2 for the first year, and hopefully looking down the road, maybe we'll do this on a bigger scale in the upcoming year. One of the real challenges of doing these kinds of events and trying to record stuff is acoustic guitar. Good Lord. Pickup systems they're not very good. I don't really care for piezo pickups on acoustic guitars, but that's just what's available, and I don't really care for that too much. They don't really sound good, and there's not much you can do about it. I've tried doing. I'm trying to get my chat back up. Not that I think anyone's, whoops, not that I think anyone's here, but, um, oops, that wasn't so good. Arg. Arg. Lost myself here. Let's go back. Let's go to this. There we go. Chat. Yay. Okay. There we go. So anyway, the best of. I kind of spent some time. I've got everything kind of recorded. Piezo pickups on acoustic guitars, kind of nasty. I've been using some impulse responses on the acoustic guitars to try and bring some life into them. But even that's bad. The best sounds have always been where we've used microphones, but microphones live on acoustic guitar can be pretty problematic. I mean, they just pick up everything, and I've tried to use clip-on microphones and just microphones in front. Honestly, one of the best live sound recordings we did, we had an Australian artist roll in called Minor Gold. Um, and it was a little problematic to get them set up and going. They were pretty particular about how they wanted to sound, and we tried a number of different microphones and positions and whatnot, and it was we couldn't really find anything. So ultimately, we ended up doing 57s on the guitars. So it's a male female duo. Both play acoustic guitar, and we ended up doing, I believe, 57s on the acoustics, and we did, I think, 58s for vocals, maybe. Uh, they might have had their own mics for that. I can't remember. But that actually ended up turning out pretty good. I like the way that recording turned out. The acoustics sounded like acoustic guitars. Piezo pickups just always feel like there's somebody punching you in the ear. You know, little bitty micro punches. The pick is just so they're just so aggressive. You know, the picks just clack 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 clack. Um, not very good. But anyway, so that's something I'm working on. One of the other things I'm working on, I've got somebody I kind of consider a friend anymore, Brett Noland. He's got his band, Brett Noland Band, and we're tracking a song. I believe the title is Just Like Home, and so we've got drums, bass, and acoustic guitar, some vocals down for that already. We're trying to get a couple of the other Brett Nolan Band players in to do some lead guitar and maybe some piano on that track. Um, so that'll get that wrapped up. Hopefully, doing a fall release on that. Maybe shooting a video for it on in about a week or so. We'll see how that goes. We got some ideas on that, and we're trying to make that happen. Again, it's kind of schedule dependent. Um, we'll see how that goes. And then what other goodies we got going on? I need to get back in and work on uh, my band stuff. Waiting West. We got an album's worth of material. I got to just release, and I've got another project that's kind of personal for with a buddy of mine. Uh, I need to go back and revisit that. Maybe see what we can do It's hard to find a singer. Singers are just difficult, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do with that. And then got another band in Richmond, Kentucky that I'll probably be doing some work with here pretty soon called Tripfall. I've worked with them in the past, uh, and that'll be that'll be pretty good. You'll probably see some behind the scenes on that, and that's part of why I've got the ATEM at this point in time. And so we might document some of that and do some kind of behind the scenes stuff on writing and recording songs for them. Um, Kind of show some process. Um, Outside of that, I got a lot of other things going on. I got an old trainer amplifier right there that I've worked on in the past. I've kind of been working on my amp collection. Right over here is a Mesa Boogie Stiletto that's got some problems. I'm going to fix that. I've gone through, retubed, recapped my dual rack. I completely rebuilt the basement up there at the top. That's a 68 drip edge. That is a AB 165 AA 864 hybrid. It sounds really good. It sounds really good. So I'm kind of happy with that. Uh, but yeah, anyway, that's kind of that. That's all the stuff I've got going on, and we'll kind of see what other stuff kind of comes up. Anyway, I guess that's it for now. Going to finish up my coffee, get my day started, and yeah, that's about it. See you, everybody.